I'm just not resonating with that, or oh, I'm just letting it all flow so I don't need to make a decision right now. Have you ever said something like that and maybe felt a tiny little knot in your gut at the same time? So have you ever told yourself, I'm just in my feminine right now, while your bank account is stressing you out, or your body's exhausted, or you're quietly resenting your relationship? So let's talk about when feminine energy stops being empowering, actually becomes self-sabotage. Hi, I'm Sylvia from Just Be Whole. So I help women move from that survival mode into true wholeness. This is where we balance nervous system health, trauma-informed inner work, and feminine leadership. So today I want to really name something that almost no one talks about. This is where we use feminine energy as a beautiful disguise for old trauma patterns and self-sabotage. So feminine energy itself is not the problem. It is beautiful, it's powerful, it's intuitive, it's creative, it's receptive, it's deeply loving, it's deeply knowing. It only becomes a problem when we use feminine, which is becoming a bit of a buzzword at the moment, as a label for things like avoiding decisions, abandoning your own needs, staying in chaos, or even outsourcing responsibility to a partner, a boss, or the universe. So that's not actually embodied feminine. That's a little girl survival strategy wearing a pretty little, spiritual outfit dress. So the first pattern that I want to call on is avoidance dressed up as surrender. So what that looks like is, I'm just going to surrender this to the universe. And, if it's meant for me, it will find me. So sometimes that is 100% truly aligned. And I see it often and I get it. But often underneath what's really happening is, I'm terrified to choose. If I don't decide, I can't fail. Or if I stay passive, I won't be judged, or I can't be judged. So we call that being in our feminine, but what we're actually in is a freeze response, stuck, paralyzed, hoping someone or something will rescue us. And self-sabotage emerges here. How it looks is, missed opportunities, stuck in that small, but having a deep desire for more, but really settling for the same, or worse, settling for breadcrumbs. You could also have no momentum in business, like you're plateauing quite a lot. Relationships, personal relationship, familial relationships that never deepen, or a growing story or a growing victim story of, oh, look, more evidence of life never working out for me. So the second pattern is overgiving and self-abandonment. So what this dresses up as is a loving feminine woman. And what it can sound like is, I just want everyone else to be happy. I don't need much. I'm easy. I'll just go with the flow. I'm the nurturer, and that's just who I am. So if you tune into your body, and if you notice exhaustion, resentment, hormonal chaos, like even weight gain, especially, once you hit menopause, and even a quiet little voice like, oh, when is it my turn? Why is everyone else living and traveling, and where's my opportunity? So that's actually a fawn response from childhood. How that looks is, oh, look, if I'm caring and low maintenance and always available, I'll be safe and loved. And as adults, that same pattern sabotages our health, our money, our intimacy, our relationships, work, career, etc. Okay, the third pattern is chaos dressed up as flow. It makes a little bit of sense if you look at it this way. So it sounds like, I can't do structure. It's too masculine. I just create when I feel inspired. So we avoid it. We push it aside. I don't want routine. I just want freedom. So again, this is a sacred, creative, beautiful feminine flow. But if there is no container, so if there's zero container structure, no planning, no boundaries, no consistency, what we actually create is financial chaos, or starting a lot of projects and never completing any, or even a story. I'm just not a finisher. And you probably know if you're one of those people looking at how many tabs you have open or how many courses you've started or how many books you've opened and not finished. So that's not your feminine being, free and easy. That's your nervous system avoiding commitment, because commitment feels like a threat. It's a fear. So what's really happening underneath all of this, and what most of these feminine behaviors are actually, is fawn, pleasing everyone so you don't get abandoned; freeze, shutting down so you don't get hurt; or flight, which is staying in that constant change so you never have to sit with discomfort, so you never have to sit with an emotion. You're always avoiding an emotion or running towards pleasure. So these patterns worked when you were little, and you have to honor yourself for protecting yourself. As a child, you were keeping yourself safe, but now they're blocking your income, blocking your true partnerships, blocking vibrant health, blocking energy, and keeping you stuck in that loop of, I'm spiritual, I'm doing the work, but my life doesn't actually change. I call it spiritual bypassing. And it's because those old strategies are still running the show and calling themselves feminine instead of what it might really be, which is, a wounded child that didn't get their needs met. So let's make this very clear. Healthy, mature, embodied feminine energy is soft and boundaried. It has boundaries. Is receptive. I was going to say but discerning, but let's just say is receptive and discerning. It feels deeply and it takes ownership of those feelings. It surrenders and is willing to take aligned action. Whereas that self-sabotaging, wounded feminine is soft with everyone except herself, is receptive to crumbs and red flags, feels deeply but uses feelings as reasons to opt out of life. I'm an empath. Have you heard that one before? Calls fear intuition, or avoidance surrender. So this is pretty punchy. So how do you start shifting this? So I'll invite you to ask yourself gently, where am I calling something feminine that is actually fear, freeze, or fawn? Where could I be abandoning myself in the name of being loving or easy? And what is one tiny place I can bring both my feminine and my safe, secure, healthy masculine online today? Meaning one boundary, one decision, or one simple structure, scaffolding that would actually support me. This whole thing isn't about becoming harder or more masculine or more driven. It's about becoming whole so that your feminine feels safe, held, and free to express instead of running old survival programs. So my job is to get you guys into self-awareness. So if this has landed for you at any level and you recognized some of your own patterns here, and I'm sure, I do a couple of them. I own it. I'm one of these. I won't tell you which one, but I'm definitely one of them. You're not alone. On this channel, I talk about feminine energy, trauma, nervous system health, biohacking, and the deeper inner work of becoming a whole woman and not just a good girl in a pretty spiritual outfit. So if you like more of this, subscribe, let me know in the comments. Where do you think your feminine might be self-sabotaging right now? I'd love to keep this conversation going with you. And thank you for listening and being here.